All right, so we're going ahead into the next session. Um, all right, Mr. Can you hear me? Yes, okay. All right. All right. Good afternoon. So we've been having an amazing session so far, and it's been such a delight and amazing session. And so finally, we have. I've said so much about him, and it's my honor to introduce to you Dr. Franklin Chiebona Mobu. He's a distinguished scholar, a legal practitioner, and a mentor. Dr. Obu is a partner at Vendich Legal and a lecturer at the University of Abuja. He holds an impressive area of qualification, LLB, BL, BA, LLM, and PhD, a testament to his intellectual depth and academic excellence. His expertise spans across corporate and commercial law, international economics law, and international human rights law. He has authored impactful work on the United Nations role in promoting human rights, leading digital transformation, challenges and opportunities, and the roles of technology in enhancing leadership effectiveness, corporate flotation, leadership and corporate governance, and indigenous rights, among others, enriching both legal scholarship and practice. Beyond academic work, Dr. Obu is a dedicated leader and mentor. He serves as a sectional president of the Youth Department, Assemblies of God Church Nigeria, and holds leadership role in CASOC, Uni Abuja platform, and Full Gospel Businessmen's Fellowship International platform, through which he has consistently demonstrated vision, integrity, and service. Today, we are privileged to hear from him. His insight will no doubt inspire and enlighten us. Please join me warmly welcome to Entrepreneur Evolve Conference 2025, Dr. Franklin Chiagoro Mubu. Thank you so much. It's such a very amazing to have you, sir. You can just go ahead. You can mute
Okay,
yourself.
I'm trying to mute the mic. It's clear.
You are muted now. Okay, you're muted now.
Okay, yeah, I think it's clearer now. So, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Dr. Franklin Chinagoro Mobu, and then, like he had rightly said, my duty today is just to discuss on a topic: legal foundations for business growth, and then under it we have structuring, we have compliance, and protecting your small business, right? So, and then every business, no matter how small, rests on a legal foundation. The legal foundation is the bedrock upon which every business you see is built. So when that foundation is weak, the business becomes exposed to risk, right? I repeat, when the foundation is weak, that is your legal foundation, the business becomes what? Exposed to risk. it becomes exposed to disputes, right? Regulatory sanctions, tax problems, partnership crisis, intellectual property theft, and even closure, right? So, but when this legal foundation is strong, the business gains what they call stability, credibility, and the capacity to grow responsibly. So, in the course of this um, uh, discourse, we're going to be anchoring everything we're going to be discussing on three main pillars. And number one is proper structuring. So, every business must have what? Proper structuring. Number two, regulatory compliance. Then number three is what they call legal protection and risk management. I want to infuse risk management because you can't talk about legal protection without emphasizing what they call risk management. So in the course of this, when we want to discuss proper structuring, now every business must be structured in such a way that the owners, the visionaries, understand what they want to do. Now, what do I mean by understanding what they want to do? They choose the right legal vehicle to follow, whether they want to make it a sole proprietorship, a partnership, or a company limited by shares, or a limited liability partnership, or a company limited by guarantee. So these are different forms of business structures that one would want to consider in the course of trying to choose how to establish his business. So a good structure is not just the registration process, right? It is in choosing which of these aligns with the business vision. There are kind of businesses you would want to do. Choosing a sole proprietorship will not be advisable. There's a kind of business you would want to engage in. Choosing a limited liability company will not be advisable. There are companies that are limited by shares, others are limited by guarantee. So it is the kind of business that would determine what you want to do. So moving forward, we would look at what is a sole proprietorship, right? Now, when you talk about sole proprietorship, we're basically saying that form of business that one wants to do alone. It is a solely owned business. You own it alone. You are the only one who controls the business. You are the alpha and the omega of the business. You are the beginning and the end of that business. No other person have a say in that business. So that kind of business is very easy to register. That's the advantage. It has a low cost, right? In registering it, in running it, it has a low cost. Now it is suitable for micro businesses, small, very small businesses. However, the new tax law is trying to make that area a bit unattractive, but I will explain that moving forward. So now when you talk about the sole proprietorship, the disadvantage is that the pool of funds available for a sole proprietorship is limited. So it means you are the one who hustle for the money that runs the business. You take care of the assets and the liabilities in the company. So, but for a company limited by shares, one benefit in it is that it has a separate legal personality. The company is different from the owners. So there is what they call separation of ownership from control. Corporate governance is introduced in it. So you whatever the company does, the company bears the cost of the consequences of that decision. and then whatever the owners do, right? So you cannot say a business, the business will when a company is limited by shares, when a company is limited by shares, it becomes attractive. People would want to invest, right? Investors will be attracted to come. Banks will equally want to loan their money to that company. Then other corporate clienteles, like other companies, might want to put in their money in that company. So it is also suitable for growth-oriented enterprises. So if you intend to grow your business to a particular scale, it is advisable that you register your company as a company limited by shares. So that's a very fundamental area. Then, while considering a business, there are key areas you must look at when you're talking about a structure, right? Now, you need to check out what risk exists in the industry you are trying to set up a business on. For example, you can be talking about let's say telecommunication, or you are talking about construction, or you're talking about rendering any form of service, let's say opening a dry cleaning shop or what have you, whatever form you want to register, you know the risk involved is different. So you must consider those risks first. Those are first things you must consider before you set up, before you begin to structure your business. You must you must consider the risk involved, right? You have to consider investment, right? How to raise capital for that business. You must check it. What the financial implication of this business. This is something that you can raise. If you want to start, maybe you have just 5 million naira and you say you want to start a construction company. Can 5 million naira buy you the necessary instruments or equipment to begin that construction company? So now you need to check again whether you would want to work alone, or you want to work with partners, or you want to work with colleagues. So you need to check those things. These are very fundamental areas you need to check in building a structure. Then you want to check whether you want to protect your asset personally, or you want to fuse both business and personal asset together. So that's where you need to choose carefully between company limited by shares and then a sole proprietorship. Then you need to look at the plan of your business. Do you want it to be a national business, or you want it to be an international business? So you must consider there are businesses that no matter what happens, this business cannot grow more than Nigeria, right? No matter what kind of money you put in, because those services might not be required outside the shores of this country, right? For example, trying to, let's say what you do is sale of generator sets. That's the business you want to venture into. There are countries, even neighboring African countries, that kind of business will not try because they have enough electricity, right? So alternative power supply might not be needed in that environment. But let's say you want to venture into solar, alternative, that's clean energy. Other countries might want to venture into it. So you must consider the pros and the cons here very, very well. So another thing you need to look at when you talk about structuring, it's what they call corporate governance for small businesses. When you talk about corporate governance, like I mentioned before, it is the act of separating ownership from control. Those who run the business are different from those who own the business. They are not fused, because when they are fused, they tend to do things anyhow. So the idea is, somebody is in paid employment, his duty is to see to the day-to-day activities of the company. He's called a director, right? Now, some other person is there, that is called a director. And then in types of director, you have executive directors. These are the people that see to the day-to-day runnings of the company. Then on the other side, you have shareholders, those who just invest. They own the company, but you don't see them running up and down for the company. They are not the face of the company. Some of them are just shareholders, right? Now, this corporate governance set out clear rules, right, or roles for the directors and the partners, right? In corporate governance, there is assurance of proper record keeping and documentation. You don't just do things anyhow. You must ensure that these things are documented, because the regulatory bodies will be requiring you to do so. So there's regular board meeting, right? There is transparent financial management. You don't just dip your hand inside the company money and want to spend it on your girlfriend or spend it on your family. No, you must make sure that whatever money you are picking, it is something that is accrued to you. It's either your salary, or it's either your dividends or your salary if you are part of the runnings of the company, and then you are entitled to any pay. That's what they call internal control. Internal control means that you control the inner workings of the companies, that the company will not just be exposed to fraud, right? So these are areas that one need to put into consideration when he or she is trying to structure his company, so to say. Now, talking about compliance, which is the second leg of our topic, compliance. Now, a regulatory compliance is very, very key. Compliance is or means staying on the right side of the law. That's the simple meaning of compliance, staying on the right side of the law. You cannot say you are running a business and then the rules guiding the business, you only align to it only on you align on to the rules only on that first year that you began the business. Subsequently, you never considered checking on the business. That is wrong. So you must at all time stay on the right side of the law. So compliance is not basically punishment, it is protection. Government agencies expect every small business to fulfill certain legal responsibilities to operate safely and ethically. Number one of that core compliance is what they call CAC annual returns. Is your company filing its annual returns yearly? Is it doing so? These are things that you must always check. There are companies that if you want to do business with, you check them on CAC portal, you discover that their status is inactive, is showing red, meaning that that company has not been filing its annual returns. So it is important that after registration and everything, you've considered all the other things we've discussed, and you are not delving into the crux of the business. In the course of running the business, you must check up on your lawyer to do what they call annual returns filing every given year from 18 months after registration for company limited by shares, right? So failure to do so can lead to penalties such as delisting. Yes, your company can be delisted from the Corporate Affairs Commission, right? Now, there's one they call tax compliance. Your company must have a TIN, a tax identification number. You must register with that, right? Then you must pay company income tax. You must pay value added tax, and then pay as you earn tax. So these are the tax that your company will have to pay at different level, right? So you keep proper financial record, not just any financial record, but proper financial record. You must have an auditor for your company, both internal and external auditors, so that you can keep your company in the proper records, right? By so doing, people who would want to deal with you, who would want to invest in your company or even do business with you, will be confident that yes, this company is a good company, it's reliable, it is fit and proper, right? It's not a company that somebody will just put their money and tomorrow the thing disappears, right? I'm sure some of you have heard or had seen banks that had folded over the years. Some of these banks folded as a result of poor corporate governance or as a result of poor obedience to regulatory compliance. Those are the issues that can come up. Now, there are other things about compliance. There are a kind of industry that have specific licenses. For example, if you want to start a pure water or bottled water company, you must register with NAFDAC. You must obtain NAFDAC license. You must have it, right? If you want to produce things that people will be using, other maybe materials that will be consumed by the people, you will have to check SON, Standard Organization of Nigeria. You must get a certification. If you have to do something that will hamper the environment, you must check NESRA laws. Get environmental permits from NESRA before you can do such things. If you want to do telecommunication, you must check NCC. You must get NCC license. So if you are also into financial areas, you must check the CBN. You must get CBN license. You must get SEC approvals for certain financial services. Even though it's a microfinance bank, you must get those licenses. So these are the areas you must put into consideration as you journey through your legal business and the growth of your business. So another thing we need to look through is the contract and documentation. It's also part of compliance. There are companies you cannot deal with. Any company that is illegal, any company that is not registered, you can't do business with them, right? So, and then in doing those business, you must write it down. Contracts should be written, not words of mouth, not I know him, don't worry, he will not run away. He will run away, and you will have no evidence. Yes, he will run away because what? You did not do due diligence. You must document everything. Your a service legal agreement. Everybody that is coming into the company should have an agreement with the company. You should issue employment letters to your employees. There should be partnership agreement if you have any partner. There should be what they call non-disclosure agreements for if you have anything you want to discuss with people within the company that you do not want it to be in the public. You must also check those things. So it's very important that we put all those things into consideration. Now, very quickly, another area we need to put discussion on is what they call data protection compliance. Now, there is the Nigerian Data Protection Act 2023 that requires businesses to protect, excuse me, Excuse me. Sorry, please. Thank you. So, the Nigerian Data Protection Act 2023 requires businesses to protect customer data, adopt privacy policies, and avoid unauthorized data exposure. So, when you collect data of customers or data of employees, you must make sure you don't give out those data to third parties without approval, right? So these things are very fundamental. There's a case we had last time where a case against Domino's. Now they shared the data of one of our clients with a third party, and we went to court, and the Federal High Court gave judgment in our favor. So the data protection area is very key. When a customer gives you his data, maybe his name, his phone number, what have you, you don't begin to send the person unsolicited messages. You don't begin to share the person's contact with another person. Please give me the list of your customers. I want to just share Christmas messages to them, share Salah messages to them. You don't do that. You are invading the person's privacy. That can be a serious issue. So you must check the data protection compliance of your company. Now, there's other areas called intellectual property. Now, if you are registering a company, you must also check about the brand name. You must really trademark that brand name. You must trademark your logo. You must trademark your slogan, right? By so doing, you protect those things that are very peculiar to you and to your company. So every creative work around those things, your content, your designs, your softwares, your books, your videos, whatever it is, you copyright them, right? If they are new inventions, you patent them. It's what they call patent. Then if there are unique product shapes and patterns, those designs, you must register them, you trademark them, right? So unregistered IP is exposed to theft. Yes, if you don't register them, anybody can steal it, anybody can use it, anybody can imitate it, and anybody can exploit the usage of it. So that is one area you must put into consideration as you journey with your company. Now, another area, like I mentioned before, is contract and legal documentation. I mentioned it before. That is your documentation must, whatever it is you're writing, must have clear obligation, what you need to do and what the other party would have to do. The payment terms, whatever payment you're going to make, it must be stated. Is it instrumental payment? Is it outright payment? It must be clearly stated. Then delivery timelines. What time are you going to deliver to the other party? Are you just going to wait till the kingdom come? There should be timelines within which each party should do what they ought to do, their obligations. Now, if there's going to be a dispute, there must be dispute resolution mechanism. You must state it, you must couch it in your agreement. Not that any Tom, Dick, and Harry can just do things, they will go to court and begin to spoil your name. No, there should be modus for resolving disagreements within the company so that the relationship can be maintained. Then another area you must look at within the compliance thing, we're talking about compliance, is employment and HR legal safety. There must be proper employment letters, like I mentioned. There must be staff handbooks. What the staff should do and what the staff should not do should be clearly stated. Not that you assume the person should know. No, you must tell the person, right? Workplace policies. There are workplace policies, rules of engagement. In some companies, they will tell you that there can be romantic activities. So a male and a female in a company cannot marry each other. So they can't begin to talk about I love you. They will keep their relationship low-key, and if they intend to marry, they will maybe resign and go and marry each other. So there are rules guiding those workplace policies. You can't come and be showing I love you inside the company. There are things you can't do within the company. These are workplace policies that must put into proper documentation. Another thing is clear termination procedure. You cannot just outrightly terminate the employment of any of your worker because you feel so, or the person cannot on its own or on their own they desert your company. They can't just leave your company. There are rules of engagement, right? So these are very, very important area that we must put into consideration as we look into our small businesses, and especially the growth of it. So by so doing, you avoid labor disputes, illegal dismissals, and compliance sanctions. When you don't comply, there will be sanctions. Another thing I must let you know is insurance and risk management. There must be insurance against fire, insurance against theft, insurance against business interruption, insurance against professional negligence, insurance against employee injury. These are insurance and risk mitigation that you must envisage in your company as you begin to grow in your company. Now, another area before we move on is financial regulatory growth drivers, right? Financial regulatory growth drivers. Now, access to finance. You must make sure that you do some things that will create financial access to your business, like registering your business with Corporate Affairs Commission. If you are operating in Nigeria, you cannot run a business in Nigeria and it's not registered with the CAC. If you do that for 14 days, that is a crime. Yes. So there's audited accounts. You must keep audited accounts of your businesses in order to make sure that when people want to deal, they can look, okay, this company is viable, this company is not viable. They can follow. So another thing you must consider is tax compliance. You must make sure that your tax compliance is in order. By so doing, you can access funds, banks can loan you money, people can invest in that your company, because they have checked your registration is in order, your audited account is in order, your tax compliance is in order. And another thing is the strong governance. I told you, corporate governance, don't joke with it. Separation of ownership from control. Yes, very, very important. So there must be legal orderliness in your company to you to access some kind of finance. Yes. Number two is corporate reputation and market access. Some people can never do business with you if your company is not in order. It's just like somebody is doing business and then you are sending a personal account to somebody. No, that doesn't make sense. You send the corporate account. By sending the corporate account, those people, the other people know that you are serious for the business. Yes. So you can enjoy better contracts. You can enjoy government partnership. Government can partner with you. You can equally enjoy international visibility. A lot of people will talk about your company in international fora. They can even attract international partners in the course of your business because your business is in order. Now, when suppliers are trying to supply things to you, they will not be in doubt whether you will pay or not, because they have seen what? Trust that your company is in order. So legal compliance becomes a growth word strategy. Very, very important as you look through those things. So now, strong protection mechanism. You need to look at strong protection mechanism. All these things we've mentioned are part of the strong protection mechanism. But I want to state something very, very important. Now, there is no strong protection mechanism if you have a poor documentation. If the owners are unclear, we don't know who owns the company, we don't know who don't own. Everybody seems disorganized. There is no strong protection mechanism. The lack of governance. If the corporate governance is not in order, people will desert you, right? And then if you mismanage your company, that's another problem. Then lastly, your dispute resolution strategy must be very, very friendly, like the alternative dispute resolution mechanism, that's the ADR, right? It must be very clear. It must not be something that will frustrate the other partners, right? It must be something that will be very, very, very what? Clear. The clauses there in the dispute resolution must be clear. it will not be ambiguous that you will need the court to come and interpret a simple clause for you. That's not proper. That's not good at all. So, gentlemen and ladies, a small business does not become big by accident. Growth in any business is a product of what? Proper legal structuring, consistent compliance, and what they call strong protection mechanism. I repeat it again. A small business does not become big by accident. Growth is a product of proper legal structuring, consistent compliance, and strong protection mechanism. So the business built on a solid legal foundation can withstand competition, attract investment, and manage risk, as well as what? Scale sustainability. It will scale what? Sustainably. Like you don't just grow and fall, you grow and maintain your growth and keep growing gradually. So the law is not a barrier, like I mentioned before. The law is the backbone of every business expansion. So what will a wise man do? A wise man must what? Structure his business legally. It must have what? A legally structured base in order to protect his business from what? Day-to-day activities. And generations yet to come will meet those businesses flourishing, because like I said, ownership has been separated from what? The company. So there is legal personality. The company is different from the owner. So I advise people to do the needful. Everything we have said here should be considered in trying to scale your business, in trying to make sure that your business grow. So, gentlemen and ladies, as we begin to round up and I wait for your questions, remember that our topic is legal foundations for business growth, structuring, compliance, and protecting your small business. Thank you for having me. My name is Dr. Franklin Chinagorom Ubu. Uncle, sir, do we have questions?
All right. Thank you very much, sir. Really, it was very insightful. I'm very sure that. Why is it Koi? Sorry, let me see.
if there's something. Any question?
Yeah, there are a couple of questions.
Okay, go ahead.
All right, so I say thank you very much. I'm sure that there are people who learn a lot and they found a lot of value in this book on
Most welcome.
intellectual property and really deep into all the details. I wasn't very expecting you to be deep in when someone knows the law very well like this. Any person speak casual, to be dead. Yes, sir. All right, so for business, let's imagine the business is doing around 2 million naira revenue every month, right?
Yeah.
So this new tax law, I don't know if you have an idea because I still many legal side of this tax, especially with tax you said a lot of people. So how does that apply to small business?
I didn't get that. Come again, please.
All right, I said you spoke in terms of importance of documentation, tax filing, and all of all these things, right? So I was saying for a business, this new tax law. Can you hear me? All right, so I was saying from a legal perspective, and from what you just said now, 2026, this new tax law now that has been implemented, right? So what are some things that entrepreneurs should be very aware of, in terms of at least being filing their tax properly, and also maybe you can even speak on the legal side of of that as regards to that area too as well.
Can you hear me?
Can you,
Can you hear me?
Hello.
yeah, can you hear me? I want to type it.
Yeah, can you hear me? I want to type it.
Okay, please do. And if possible, can you just repeat the question, because there's a call that was coming in and interrupting what you were saying.
Okay. So
Okay.
there are three
So
there are three questions.
there are three questions.
So I'll just
So
send it to your
I'll just
I
send it
send
to
it to your
your
WhatsApp.
I send it to your WhatsApp.
Okay, you can. You can.
Yeah, so you can just help us
So you
answer
can
this
just
question.
help us answer this question.
I've sent it.
I've sent it.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Very well, we can hear you.
Okay, sorry for that break in transmission. Some
It's
calls
okay.
are interrupting
Sorry.
my
Yeah, it's
phone.
okay.
Initially I thought this program was for evening because of the active nature of this my phone. So very quickly, the first question is, in today's business climate, what legal structures give startups the strongest foundation for growth and protection? Like I mentioned initially, the limited liability company limited by shares, gives startups the best protection or the best foundation because of the growth orientation of that company. Like I said, the company gives you opportunity for limited liability protection. Your personal assets, what you own as an individual, is not the same as what the company owns. They separate the liabilities in the two. Meaning if the company borrowed money and they want to now recover that money, they can't come and touch your personal assets. So you must separate what you own and what the company owns, right? So secondly is that it is investor friendly. People can invest in that company. So there's what they call angel investors. You have banks, you have other companies that will be willing to become shareholders. Like for example, let's say Dangote will look at your company and say, okay, let us buy shares too in this your company. So that's one of those areas. Although you must be careful so that they don't buy up the whole shares and then leave you, the owner, with little powers to control the company. So now, clear ownership and governance. I've mentioned it. You separate ownership from control. Those who own the company will become different from those who control the day-to-day activities of the company. So you must not get those things um, uh, twisted. So a startup that wants to grow, attract investors, and operate professionally should begin life as a limited liability company or transition to one as soon as visible. So if you're already using business name, you move very fast to company limited by shares. Again, the new tax law made some things a bit awkward for the business names. It does not see a business name as a separate entity from the company, which is also true. So whatever money that the company makes, you will be charged personally. The tax will be charged personally on you. So, but on the company limited by shares, the company pays its tax and you pay your own tax. And then there is also a waive, like a company within a threshold of below 50 million or below, under the company limited by shares, are not expected to pay a certain amount of tax. So these are areas that one need to put consideration on when he or she is trying to make registration as a startup. Now, the second question says that common legal mistakes young founders make and how to avoid them. Now, the first common mistake is running a company without registration. That is a fundamental mistake. You don't make such mistake. You don't, as a founder, you have vision, you don't just go and start. And that's why you could start with a name that you've not registered. Your name will start growing, you start making some money. Then later on, when you go to register, you discover that somebody else has registered that name. What you have done is that you have advertised your company for somebody else. So founders' idea of delaying registration, operate informally, and then face all those myopic and very mediocre way of thinking. So you must register first. As the idea drops, you turn it down, you articulate your business plan. The next thing is you register the business early, preferably, like I said, as a limited liability company. Now, another thing is agreement. Many companies make the mistake of not writing their agreement. You don't do a company by words. No, it's not declaration. You are not God. It's only God that say, let there be light, and there was light. Men will write it down. You understand? So that tomorrow the story will not change. Somebody will not be telling you, it's not me, it is me. No, it should be written down. Somebody will sign, a witness will sign. So verbal co-founder agreement is not allowed. Yeah. So written partnership terms must be there. So you don't do partnership by words of mouth. No, it should be written down. So employment or contractor agreement, it must be written down. It's not something you just say. Those are areas that one must. If you have a supplier, you have a client, there should be agreement. You know, so you use a simple, clear written contracts for every key relationship. So that is why I advise people who are starting business, get a lawyer that understands what we're talking about, so that you can make progress. Another thing is mixing personal money with business money. Please don't do this mistake. Don't. These are these are common mistakes that startup young business people do. They call themselves founders, and the founder will now be using his pocket money to be running business money. If there is a particular money you are separating for the company, separate it. And if you're going to put your personal money there, note it. Not that you don't know when it's your money. You don't mix up things. So you open a business bank account. It is also very important that you open a business bank account. You separate those finances that goes for the business from the one you use. Again, the reason why you need to do those things is that with the new tax law, they will be having access. They will have to get permission to access your company account. So if you put your personal money, you say, okay, send it to my personal account. Some money that's supposed to accrue to you, you're saying send it to your company account. You pay tax on that thing. So you must be careful how you do these things. As money accrue, you must make sure they are distinct, they are clear. Whatever it is you are doing, if you are going to pay yourself salary, you write it down what salary it is, and you live within the means. You must discipline yourself highly on that. Then the next point, which is the fourth one, which is a common mistake, is ignoring compliance requirements. You don't ignore compliance requirements like tax filing, licensing requirement are regulated for regulated industries, data protection obligations. Those are not things you throw away. You must not ignore them, right? So another thing is neglecting intellectual property. You know that this your company will go far. No trademarking of name, no logo trademark, no slogan. Today you say we work, we serve. You do so, you create some very nice slogan that you did not trademark. Tomorrow somebody else will use it, right? And then it becomes a problem. So you must file a trademark early and secure your IP rights before going public. So you don't go and be advertising for somebody else. Then another thing is not defining ownership clearly. If you don't define who owns this and who do not own this as early as possible by drafting what they call a shareholding agreement and clearly define equity percentage, you must know what accrues to this person. What percentage of share is Mr. Johnson holding in your company? What percentage of share is Mr. Leo holding in your company? You don't just go about saying, okay, no worry, we will talk later. No, it is not like that. You must be written down, write it down, everybody signs, and then everybody's in proper agreement. It's very important. The number 3 question you said, how important is intellectual property protection for small businesses, and what steps should entrepreneurs take early? Now, IP is one of the most important and most ignored. It is important and it is most ignored parts of building a business. Even small businesses need protection because brand identity is often their biggest asset. You see, God can show you mercy. He can show you so much grace. You can go for impartation service, the hands are laid on you, and then when you come out, anything you touch explodes. If the name of your company has gone abroad, it has traveled so much, maybe through social media, what have you, and then this company is not registered, somebody else goes to register it before you, what will now happen? You start fighting the person? No. When there are equal equities, the first in time prevail. So when you are claiming a name and that person is claiming a name, the person whose name who registered first will prevail. And in this case, it's even the law that will prevail, not even the equity, right? So I don't need to begin to explain those things. I'm just trying to say that you must register your intellectual property. Then the question is, why does intellectual property matters? First, it prevents others from stealing your name, like I said, your logo, and your idea. So it protects the uniqueness of your product or service. So everybody knows that, oh, everything this thing belongs to Leo. When they hear it, they say it's Leo. If they hear, they say it's Leo. You get, so it increases your business valuation. People trying to value your business with level. You get, so people don't take your business like any other thing. So another point is that it helps secure investment for you. So your business can secure investment because what investors want to know your own, want to know what your company own and what you own. So by that form of registration with IP, they already know, okay, this thing belongs to the business. It is not this person. It's not Leo I'm dealing with. It is Leo's company, right? So it builds customer trust. The customers will have trust in you if your intellectual property is registered. So very, very important. So there are simple steps that every entrepreneur must take at the early stage, which is you trademark your business name, you trademark your logo, you trademark your slogan and your product names. For example, Leo is producing, let's say, ginger sweet, and the ginger sweet he calls it G sweet. If he doesn't register G Suite, somebody else can come and register and go and trademark G Suite, and then they will both start quarreling over it. So you must do such things, right? And that is very, very important. Thank you so much, guys, for having me. Any other question? Because it's 3 already.
Oh, no, 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 no. Wow, this. So thank you so much for the way you answered those questions. I think there's a lot. So, you can as well do well to make references again back because I know that you guys will want to listen back. So it's going to be saved on the YouTube page. So you can always go back and make references and all those things. So on behalf of the team, I really want to say thank you very much for taking out the time to teach to explain this. Like this is the first time mostly lawyers they know how to use BB grammar to bamboozle people with small thing that we need to understand. They will just confuse you, and all of this, knowing that not everybody are learned. I know, but even still yet with your legal prowess and even your academic prowess and all of this, you still explain this in such a very basic level that every entrepreneur, I believe that every entrepreneur who is already in business or who is about to start business should listen to this again. Have the team cut out your session and just post it separately, so that people can learn because I believe that a lot of young entrepreneurs they make these mistakes and even the questions I think the question that was asked even narrowed helped you to even touch on certain aspects that are very fundamental and important to us as well. So on behalf of the team I want to take the time to say thank you very much for taking out the time to be with us this evening, no this afternoon, and also sharing from your wealth of experience. And I want to say thank you very much and we do appreciate your time.
Thank you so much for having me, Leo. It's a pleasure being on your platform. My regards to other members of the team.
Yes, sir. All right. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you. I think I'm permitted to sign
Leave.
out
Yeah,
now.
you. Yeah, please, you can.
Thank, thank you.
All right. So, guys, thank you very much for all of you who have taken the time to join us since morning up to until now. I want to say thank you very much, and I think we've rounded up for today, and this is the end. And thank you so much for taking out the time.